And then while we're talking, I have to go back into the settings and make sure it says public and not private. It's just very, that's the unfortunate
I
thing
just
about
received
that.
a message saying this is being sent to a third party.
Yeah. Yes, YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. All right, very good. Not sure why it would have to actually say that, but okay, so we're live on YouTube and I'm going to record on this end here. So record on this computer. So hi, everyone. Welcome to the Goldfish Report. I'm your host and researcher, Louisa. Today is Friday, August 16th, 2024. This is Goldfish Report number 1110. And this is our Food for the Soul series. And we need this now more than ever. Joining me is our regular that I do my reports with, this we have psychic medium Mark Christopher Nelson with us and his lovely wife Barbara, and these two are a tag team duo that are amazing when it comes to anything psychic, anything intuitive, anything even paranormal. They're amazing, and we're gonna talk a little bit about this and see what predictions Mark may have. So I want to welcome you both back to the Goldfish Report.
Louisa, it's always nice to see you.
Thank you, Louisa. It's wonderful to be here.
Unfortunately, so last week, actually literally during our report, in about shortly into the report, my beloved friend Steve, who is also my co-host, passed away. And clearly this is devastating news. Unfortunately for the Goldfish Report, this is our second loss, big loss. As we know that our other beloved friend, Dr. Scott Werner, also passed away. So this is unusual, right, to have this. But and Mark was so kind and polite and asked if I felt up to doing the report. And I mean, I can always find a reason not to, right? I mean, and I think my initial shock of Steve passing is over. And it's grief. And that's the reason I really decided to do this report tonight, was because there's a lot of loss. It's just catastrophic. And I think that so many people are grieving. They are, wounded. I mean, they're wounded on a soul level when you lose a loved one. And that's why your work, Mark, is so helpful, because this is healing and comfort that can only come from your skills. And what happens is,
What's
Mark's
happening
messages.
is we're getting beeping from this device behind us, which is usually a little messenger telling us at an electronic level. Perhaps we're getting company with Steve.
Maybe Scott. Maybe.
I see the green light going on in the back.
Yeah.
I absolutely would expect Steve to come by, because this is a topic that we've explored so much on the Goldfish Report. And Steve was very much open-minded to things that well, Steve was very intuitive himself. In fact, he had a very strong intuition, Steve, which I trusted completely, because it was that reliable and that accurate. So they have devices there indicating that what does that indicate? Just that there's an energy present?
Well, you were talking about Mark's ability to psychically connect. And actually, it was how it helped people. And that's when it went off.
And it stopped. So
yeah.
Mhm.
So it could be Steve, it could be Scott.
Cheerleaders on the other side to help us.
Right. So last week, what had happened, and I didn't know this until you guys told me this 2 days ago. So Steve literally passed during our last report.
Yeah.
And I didn't know until 2 days ago, but Barbara, why don't you explain, and Mark, why don't you explain what happened?
Barbara, you should
So,
know this too.
so Mark was talking to Louisa, and I think you were actually
Talking
talking
about
about him.
Steve, yeah.
And I'll be like getting messages as Mark is focusing on something, and I just randomly, I don't do this all the time, even though I am an artist, but I just started sketching
Hold that
this
up to the
like a
camera.
Yeah.
scribble,
Right.
a face of a guy. He has a beard,
Mhm.
and and I thought to myself, or a message came to me that he
Who
had
pressed the thumb down? I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you. If someone pressed a thumb down, is this what happens when people interact with the channel live? Who's watching? Who would put a thumb down?
I don't know, but
I don't, maybe you just didn't think that, maybe you just didn't think it looked like, and I'm not saying it looks exactly like Steve. I mean, what we're
yeah.
saying is, that,
let me put that
um,
up again. It's
It's a
a
gestural,
scribble.
quick gestural drawing.
yeah. And I can just say that this probably was Steve. I mean, that's my opinion, okay? You don't have to believe it. You don't have to like it. It's just my opinion that
Right.
he was sending you the message, I guess, maybe to tell me, but of course, we don't know exactly how to interpret these things, right? Like you maybe after the report, you mentioned to Mark that you thought he had passed. Is that right?
Yes, that was the message that I got. And this was before, because after the show, you showed us some video of him singing.
Right.
Oh,
There's beeping
we
again in the
have beeping
background.
going on again. If
We just
that's,
don't know who it is. Well, I don't know. Can you tell? Can you guys
I
tell?
think it's Steve. And that's very ironic that it just, I mean, it starts and stops and it
Yeah,
seems to um, behave in reaction to what we have to say.
of
So,
course. Yeah.
and I have to think that Steve is
it's a
very,
confirmation.
I take it as a confirmation.
Yeah.
Also, too, that it isn't just, I do believe he's here. I believe he wants you to know that he appreciates being remembered. That's one thing. He says, like, I didn't do my work to be remembered. I did it because I loved it. But to be remembered and to, especially by a wonderful friend like you. I only met Steve once and I thought he was a wonderful guy. But you had the history. He also tells me to tell you is that he wants you to keep repeating. It's like I see this visual. You put down one card after another, after you just keep this process going. So it's like it's a repetitive action. If it isn't related directly to the show, it's about you putting a card down, doing something again, again, again. So he wants you to whatever it is, this it feels like it's an action where you're supposed to be repetitive and to do more of this kind of specific work. Is that just going off on itself again? That's kind of interesting. I hope you don't mind, but it is kind of a useful validation because we're not touching it.
Right.
Barb,
No, no, no. You guys were both sitting close to the camera and I heard it going off in the back. And
so
so,
it's one way for them to, it's call it a double confirmation. I do feel like that he's appreciative of being remembered by you in particular, and that also too, it looks like that, I don't know if you put together, I see a compilation of videos that he has done. It looks like I see what would look like several performances or a group of them put together in something of a collection. So someone is doing this for him. He's very grateful for this. Um,
yeah.
he called out to his daughter to say, I think he's asking for forgiveness for if there's something that was happening between the two of them. He says it's because I wasn't there enough.
Yeah, he was performing. Well, I don't want to get too personal with the family there. So
Yep. No, that's not. And he
appreciate
just
it.
sends love, sends.
Okay.
Um, I see him. All right, I'll leave this at this. I don't know if he left a car. I see like car keys turning. I
Mm.
don't know if he had a car. but it's like he's showing me keys turning. Has to do with family. Um,
Uh-huh.
we can talk about it, or maybe I don't want to get into anything more personal.
That's okay. Yeah. I mean, if you have it, just write it and jot it down or something or whatever. If you can remember it later, that would be fine. But that's validation. I mean, so your meter there validated, and we,
Oh,
folks, this is live, so we have no idea what's going to happen. This is live, by the way. So this
And
is not pre-recorded. We're not editing. I do not have the kind of software to like edit as, we go on.
it's off
it
again when
just
you
went
said
off
that.
again.
When you were talking about validation, it just was beeping again in our background. So that's
Mhm.
interesting.
And we're not anywhere near it. There's
Yeah.
no electrical
If you can move
device
over just a little bit, Mark, because I was seeing it between the two of
right
you on the
there.
Barb,
couch.
you
Yeah.
want to,
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah. See, you can see the green light on. Yeah. See, and you can hear it when it goes off. You can hear it
okay, I'll
too.
stay over on this side.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. So no, I mean, you were fine. It was just lighting up right behind you before. So this is, what you do.
I team with Barbara. I'm
Yeah.
the psychic side of it, and Barbara's also sensitive, hence the drawing. But she also is good with the equipment. She knows how to use it, manage it. We
Right.
kind of validate each other. It's like if I come up with something and then she's got something happening, she also may hear something at a certain point. I mean, I don't do readings this way, but when we go out and we do an investigation of a location, or in this case, if we're doing a program, and the equipment can be very validating and it's very interesting.
Is it going off, Barbara?
no, but I'm looking at the temperature. The temperature's gone down a little bit.
Would it be
So
easier if you put it over here? So, or no? I'm trying to
I
arch
kind
right.
of I kind of like leaving it away from
Oh,
us,
okay,
Yeah.
sure.
and so it's easy for Steve
Or Scott.
or Scott to access it and not uh,
Anyone
worry about
else?
us being near it.
I do have a clip or two of Steve that I wanted to share. The next report that I do will be before next Friday, but it will be um a collage of video for Steve. And this is funny because the Goldfish Report viewers have known Steve all along. They had no idea who he was.
That's funny.
Nobody. We never once. And I had to protect him for good reason. Okay.
I
And it wasn't important to the conversation. Uh, I'm going to play a little clip first of Steve in one of our previous interviews. So I'm going to let you listen to, which is a very interesting topic that we're talking about,
Hmm.
because Steve cared a great deal about humanity. And that's why when he wasn't singing, of course, Steve and I have a musical background. That's how we knew each other. I actually wrote music for him. I studied at the Juilliard School for
Oh
many
wow.
years, music composition. Certainly you can't make a living. I mean, it's too complicated unless you have, sponsors.
Yeah.
And I didn't. So, but I didn't try very hard to pursue them just because my own personal life was, as a woman, I just had too many duties and obligations and burdens, whatever you want to say, but it was very difficult to overcome that and pursue the music at the same time. Having said that, so I knew Steve for a very, very long time, and um he cared a great deal about humanity. And he felt a duty to help humanity in any way that he could. Um, and so he contributed to the reports, he contributed his critical thinking, his analysis, his own, he was a jet setter. I mean, he traveled all over the world singing. So he got to see, you know, all kinds of cities. I mean, I can't even imagine how many miles he must have racked up, but
Wow.
he's been everywhere. And the finest conductors, orchestras, stages, Sydney Opera House, Metropolitan Opera, I mean, you name it. Zurich, he's
Wow.
just everywhere. Um, and So, but nobody really knew him for that. We knew him as a humanitarian. And I think Steve was grateful for his gift of voice. And he was very concerned. He was very much a humanitarian. Um, and uh, certainly would want to be remembered that way. And that's why he came onto the GoldFish report. So without belaboring this anymore, I'm sorry, I'm not in, a great place myself. I'm not in a horrible place, but I'm not, I feel like like anybody does when they lose somebody very close to them.
Mhm.
So let me, I found, let me explain this. I found a channel that bootlegs my videos. I was able to go to this channel and they just happen to have a clip I could pull up of Steve. So I'm like, all right, whatever.
That's
Yeah,
great.
isn't that something? This is GoldFish report number 30. This is a
Oh,
very,
wow.
I know, I'm going back. So I'm going to screen share this. And for the viewers who have been with GoldFish report for a long time, you're going to know, you're going to maybe remember this. So let me also optimize my screen for the video. Okay, make sure this is optimized. Now, this is an interesting topic. It's GoldFish report number 30. This goes back to, oh my God, well, that's when they archived this. Now it had to be longer than that. Yeah, they didn't archive this as soon as it happened. So this is a systems researcher who started to understand a little bit more detail of how our world is made up. And the reason I'm playing this clip is just to show how Steve engaged, how critical thinking he was, how he cared so much about informing people, waking people up, things of that nature. And no, I'll just play it now.
And they said, "This is who you are."
This is not Steve. This is
And I
our
said,
guest.
"I'm a piece of paper." And what they had handed me was, they had handed me a birth certificate from the hospital with a gold seal, the corporate gold seal from the hospital with 3 signatures on it, one from the court administrator, one from the nurse, and one from the doctor that delivered me. And then they handed me one from the state that I was born in. And it had my name on there and had my parents' name on it and everything, all that. And so I started doing an investigation of what these 2 pieces of paper meant. What did they mean? Well, the one I got from the hospital had my footprints on it and had my mother's thumbprints on it. Well, then the one I got from the state basically had a description of who I was, but they both had the same title at the top of it, called a certificate. Well, you get a car registration, and don't they issue you a title certificate? So I had to research the word certificate, and that's one of the things that we have to understand. And John pointed this out last time, was you got to notice the things that are going on around you. Do you understand what a birth certificate is? Do you understand the meaning of it? And most people say, well, it's to identify who you are. But if you read the fine print on mine at the very bottom, it said it was made by the American Banknote Company. So I researched American Banknote Company. What is that? And it said that it is the oldest company in the United States that creates currency. Well, currency, isn't that what we use for buying things? Isn't that money? Isn't that currency? So then I got real curious about this birth certificate. So I called the state that I was born in, and I said to the state, I said, what does this number mean? They says, oh, well, that number means that in this county, that number 125 means you were the 121st person born, 125th person born in the month of March in that county. I says, cool. Well, what's this number over here mean? Well, that number over here is the registration number that we have for our records showing when you were put into our system. And so then I asked, well, what's this over here? And I asked over here. And the next thing I asked, the very last question I asked him, I said, well, who claims ownership of the birth certificate? And they said, we do, and we'd be glad to give you certified copies. Well, let me ask you something. If you claim ownership of something, like your car or like your house. Well, who pays the bills for the car if you claim ownership? Who pays bills to the house if they claim ownership? Isn't it the person who has possession? So I started thinking, well, if that's the case and they want to claim ownership, then why aren't they paying for my clothing? If they want to claim ownership of me and they want to claim, why aren't they paying for my food? Why aren't they paying for my education? Why aren't they, if they're making this claim that they're the owners, well, the only problem is I've never made a claim disputing their claim that they're the owners. So again, look around and notice the things that are going on in your life. Notice your driver's license. Who claims ownership of it? What is that about? Why is the name on your driver's license in all capital letters? Remember, everything out here in my research that I've done is all wordsmithing. Everything has a meaning. Everything has a hidden meaning. Everything has multiple meanings depending on how you use it. So when you have these certificates, I go back to the word certificate. What's a certificate have? What's it mean? Well, a certificate is something that you use to put an item into a trust. You can't put your car into a trust, so you have to take and make a description of the car. It's the year, the model, the color, the amount of doors, the size of motor, the serial numbers, the VIN number, the license number. Then you put this description and then you put it into a certificate and then you put it into a trust. Well, that's what they've done with you. They've taken you and made an identical copy of your birth certificate from the hospital, and they've created this trust certificate and they put it into their state trust. Once you understand the main thing you have to do is understand who you are. That makes sense?
Yeah, that's very interesting information, Martin. Tell me, what does that mean for the common person now? If they're suddenly confused listening to this, thinking, "My God, what's with my birth certificate?" What does that actually mean?
Well, if you do the research on a birth certificate and you do the research on trust and you understand the purpose and intent of a trust and you understand the different elements of a trust and you understand, now you have to understand, well, who are you in this trust? If they've created a trust and they put you into a trust, who are you? Well, there's 3 levels to a trust. You've got the grantor, you've got the trustee, and you've got the beneficiary. So by them being the creator of the birth certificate, they're the creator of the trust, right? So then what is their role? If you look in Corpus Juris Secundum, it says that all public officers are fiduciaries and trustees to the people. Okay, now you covered 2 elements. You got the grantor of the trust, you've got the trustee of the trust. Well, what's that leave for you?
All right, so what that means is that by you accepting or having a birth certificate within a system, you are a small cog in a very large system. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Right.
To give you an idea of, Steve's insightfulness, of his attention to detail. I think that was a very important thing. I'm sorry it seemed a little bit long-winded at first, but you needed to kind of have a little bit of that background to see, just the way in which Steve would interact and interview with me and how much he cared about humanity. What was his first question? What does that mean for you and me, for the average, for that? He considered himself an average person. And he really was. He was my friend. And so, but did you guys, was there any signaling going on when Steve was talking there, or was it?
There was. We had this thing beeping away behind us. So
wow, really?
yeah, it's not doing it now, but it was when he was that segment began. You had said something and then bleep. So
Okay.
that's
So
again, sure.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry. But what Martin was talking about was a subject of intense, fascination of Steve's and of course mine. Martin is a systems researcher, and he started to uncover a lot of information that has been, I would say, hidden. And the
Right.
idea that our birth certificates are those numbers on those certificates, that's bond paper. That's a financial instrument that is traded on the stock market.
Mhm.
We have, and I've had Winston Shroud on before talking about the prepaid accounts,
Mhm.
that there's double ledger accounting, because Winston was given an appointment with the Office of International Treasury Control, IOTC, who was
Mhm.
also made a notary for the World Court. Winston was way ahead of his time. He was here he was explaining the system of commerce we have and why we have legal fiction, how
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
have a private side and a public side. And if you want to interact with the public, you are no longer, let me see, how does this work? You're no longer, you have to change the status. They changed our status to being all capital letters. And the only thing that really is all capital letters are ships, tombstones, and corporate titles.
Mm.
So they made us into corporations. So
Mhm.
this was the whole idea. I mean, I could get into that into another report, but the idea that this was just mind-boggling at the time, and it seems very complicated because it is, and it was made that way so we can't figure it out.
Mhm.
But a lot of people did figure it out. A lot of very interesting people who, were dedicated to doing a lot of research in order to uncover how we are in an admiralty law system. So we're ships because we were born in our mother's birth canal when the waters broke, and we're delivered by a dock tour. So this is the wordsmithing that he was talking about. So this was, of course, very fascinating for Steve to understand, to try to help people understand. And so Steve was, that was GoldFish report number 30. Now, I also, just for a moment, wanted to share a little bit about Steve's other life. And I'm going to play a very short clip of him singing. And if the sensor goes off, just make a note, just say it's going off. If it's not, it's fine, but if it is, it's okay to interrupt. This is a clip on YouTube that you can find. Hold on, not yet. This is a beautiful song that he sang. I still can't believe that he's gone. I just can't. But this is life, and we will work it all out. This is Steve Davis Lim, which is his last name. This is what Steve did when he wasn't on GoldFish Report and spending time with his family.
Von der Straße her ein Posthund klingt. Was war das, dass es so wohlhaft klingt, mein Herz? Was war das, dass es so wohlhaft springt, mein Herz, mein Herz? Die Post bringt keinen Brief für dich. Was trägst du denn so wunderlich, mein Herz, mein Herz? Die Post bringt keinen Brief für dich, mein Herz, mein Herz. Was trägst du denn so wunderlich, mein Herz, mein Herz? Nun ja, die Post kommt aus der Stadt, wo ich ein liebes Leben hat, mein Herz.
What's going on?
Ein liebes Leben hat, mein Herz, mein Herz.
Die-
Hi, Steve.
Willst wohl einmal hinübergehen und fragen, wie es dort
So that's what Steve did when he was on GoldFish Report.
He can sing a little.
Yeah, a little.
He was
Fantastic. So I
amazing.
heard you saying that the monitor, want to explain what was happening?
So it went to the orange level, which
Here, I'll
is,
show her what it is.
that's because I'm touching it, but
Show it on camera.
Yeah,
yeah.
you have to hold it up a little bit once you have it ready.
So
Can't see it on camera.
that,
Has to be in between the two of you.
this
Yeah.
is what happens when energy comes close.
Uh-huh.
So when he was singing, it went to the orange level,
Which is pretty far.
which is pretty active.
So he's
Is the
just dropping-
temperature? What is the
Um,
temperature? Is that
Went up because I held it, but it was
Okay.
down. It
Yeah, yeah.
dropped like 4 degrees.
But the idea that it would register an energy. Okay, now it's stopped. So to me, it's very much a clear indication that he was enjoying his own singing. He was.
Well, and it went higher
It
than,
did.
yeah,
It was
it
very
was more
loud.
intense. Yeah.
what do you mean?
Because it went to the orange level, that means a higher energy. So he was really trying to emphasize that he was here and
Okay.
acknowledging the video.
Mhm.
So, uh,
It was loud and
it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's just it. It's a beautiful way for someone in spirit to kind of raise his hand, say, "I'm here." In fact, here's me making noise. Okay, me
Right.
letting my presence be known.
He was a powerful singer. I mean, you could see the power in his voice. It was
Oh.
really amazing. And so I wouldn't be surprised, he doesn't have that voice any longer, but he still has that energy,
Yes,
right?
I would think so. I mean, the body,
pretty-
the voice is part from the body, but his energy is still with us. Consciousness, energy survives the body, and so that was his way of, I think, chiming in.
And it takes a lot of energy on their end to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why there's kind of gaps in between.
Mhm.
It takes them a while to understand how to set that off, and they exhaust their energy.
That can happen.
But
most
it
certainly.
looks like when he was singing, he was trying to really emphasize, like, yeah, that's me, it's me, I'm here.
It's almost like he was singing along.
Yeah.
You think? I mean, so how unusual is it that you get that kind of reading?
I would say that when someone is present in
Right.
spirit and they want their presence known, it goes
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
We've been in places where there's nothing going on. It's not making
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
was that the highest setting, or was that
No,
second,
no.
no.
It was kind of middle setting. It goes up to like 5 different levels. So he was
Okay.
like 3. He was
Okay.
like a 3.
But we're not a huge
But-
room, and
Yeah.
it's like,
It takes them getting used to how to work the electronics.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
and
Got
it
it.
takes a lot out of them to do that, because
Right.
if you out we're in another dimension, so they have to kind of don't they slow down
Well,
for
but,
our
yeah.
dimension?
when I'm doing a reading, I have to almost talk really fast because they start going really quick, and I got to pick it up, got to go, go, go.
But they slow down for us.
I'm just trying to find the chats. Sorry, trying to find
Oh, no worries.
the chat section, and I don't see it. I'm trying to figure out why I don't see it. Hold on a second. View your channel. Yeah, I'm just trying to get that's weird. Oh, let me see. There it goes. See, that's weird. Oh, okay. Yeah, Grace writes in, hello from Arizona. Sorry about your friend. I didn't push the thumb down. Oh, you didn't? Okay, thanks, Grace. Thank you. Yeah. Is our maker taking our friends to help us fight the war against evil? She said she's lost many people over the last few years and they were way too young to die. Yeah, Steve was 57. I mean, that's pretty young.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
She says,
Yeah.
I feel like things are going to get rough. Steve was young and talented. Yes, he was. So do you have a sense, like Dolores Cannon? Are you familiar with who Dolores Cannon was?
Know the name, but
Yeah.
I don't know who she is.
Well, she did this QHHT kind of therapy. She was accessing people's subconscious, and they were, I guess, on the border between two realms, like Twilight, like you do when you're just about ready to fall asleep, and then they would talk with the person, and then so she accumulated a lot of knowledge from clients, and then there was a lot of consistent patterns in the information that was coming through, and it was just their subconscious. Now, some of the things that she was saying was that there was a new Earth, that there was, we were basically going to be in a higher frequency and like vibration, because this is 3D, that we would be, and it had to get everybody ready for that. She said souls came here to help Earth because we were in trouble here. Do you ever get a sense of that, from the messages that come through, or are they just all well, they're all very personal, obviously, the messages, but on your psychic level, I mean, for the mediumship, I'm sure it's all very quite personal, but this, either one though, I mean, is there like a consistent message that you get
Yeah,
from
I
the
can
other
say
side?
that, and although it's personal, it does have an impact on the world itself. Each time we incarnate, we come to this world, it's for one of two purposes: to love and to learn. So we learn, and everything we do falls into one of those two categories pretty much. But if I come into this world, Barbara comes into this world with the idea is that I want to be a loving individual. That's going to have a radiating effect for the people that Barbara, I benefit from Barbara's loving energy. I benefit from
And vice versa.
vice versa. Thank you, beautiful. Also, too, we learn when you're doing your work, when you're doing the GoldFish report, the food for the soul, people are benefiting. You're expanding the world by teaching them something they didn't know. So that's how we impact
Right.
the world with each of our small little lives.
So in other words, well, I'm sorry, I seem to be a little lost for words. It's not like me usually, but under these circumstances, it's been a very difficult week, I have to say. But again, you see, she noticed too. People, let me show you my Twitter newsfeed, because I think this is relevant.
Okay.
I'm constantly, so I had Dr. William Mackis on the Goldfish Report, what, a week and a half ago. He is an oncologist in Canada who basically was blacklisted, who has been trying to help people take fenbendazole and ivermectin
Mhm.
for the turbo cancer that has been
Right.
that has been the new thing now. So I'm going to screen share this because this is a problem. I mean, so this is our Twitter page on Goldfish Report.
Mhm.
This is my pinned post. There's a lot of things going on in the world,
Yeah.
as you can see. We have a new monkeypox or mpox
Right.
virus going on, but God, I mean, really, come on, we're not going to fall for it this time.
It's
It's
got a
like,
scary name. It's got a scary name. Maybe everyone should be afraid of that.
I
Maybe
know.
we should also be looking at who is most likely to get that and then
Right,
wonder
yeah.
what circumstances.
So there's a lot of news here, which I could go through, but I'm not going to, just for sake of time. This is, so let me see. I'm sorry for the scrolling, but that's how it works here. Usually, so I'm glad to see that it's not totally like only died suddenly posts, so that's good. No, that's not, yeah, so this is the alert channel. 33 mpox cases, Berlin reports most infections in Germany. I don't know about that. This guy says he, contracted monkeypox too. We'll see. But what I'm trying to
Yeah.
show you, what I wanted to show you was, again, I apologize for the scrolling. Let me just go to Dr. Makis's website. That might be better because I do post so much other stuff on here than just that. So, no, I don't want to do that. Let me take it out of screen share, then I'll do it. So,
Well, one thing too, it's like you have before people get too worked up about monkeypox, it's worth investigating how it is transmitted. I think that it's not like you cough. I thought it was um, through sexual contact, although I could be wrong.
right, because it says that it's emerging in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and they specifically referred to it, I don't know, it was like they referenced the, I don't know, sexual work, the people who were doing sexual
Sexual
work.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm not so sure. This is Dr. Makis's Twitter page. And what I'm trying to show everybody is his posts of like a 27-year-old Autumn died suddenly at home, July 20th, 2024. He just has this all up down his site here. Look, Columbus, Ohio. Christine Masters was a nurse practitioner, died on August 2nd. You can see she's quite young there. You can't tell how old, but she's got a young family.
Mhm.
And it's just 14-month-old, died in his sleep. They all had the COVID vaccine, by the way.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Passed away in his sleep. Here's another one. He's 82nd Airborne Division, which is a very, very highly skilled, but
Yes.
they have mandated, they mandated the
Right.
the vax on our military. This is just
Yeah.
terrible. This is terrible. I mean, this is what pharmakia, they tried to warn us in the Bible, right? But who's watching? Who's reading it? And it's so sad to see all these deaths. Now, I'm not
Right.
going to get into, so yeah, they're young. Look how young they are. And Edward Dowd is a former BlackRock economist. I mean, he's an economist, he's a trader. He's the one who finds the trends and analyzes all the financial data and finds trends, and he was a portfolio manager for BlackRock. He left the company, but he's been calling this out. He published a book called Died Suddenly, of all these people just, So
Excess death.
anyway, yeah, excess deaths. But these were vaccinated people. They were not unvaccinated.
Yeah.
The problem is there's a lot of people who have gotten ill from shedding, and we don't know enough about that yet to really talk about that.
No.
But in any event, there's a lot of people very young dying, and it's sad. I'm not sure really what to say anymore. I mean, we've been reporting for, let's see, oh my God, what's today? Guess what?
What?
This is 2024, my 9-year anniversary. Yesterday would be
Oh boy.
9 years. 9 years doing GoldFish report. That's a
Wow.
lot. That's why I've accumulated 1,110 reports. That's 9 years of. It takes that long to do that many reports, and my reports aren't like 10, 20 minutes long, and that makes it hard. I get it. It makes it hard, but it's full of information, and you can always come back and listen to them because the information is there's a lot related to the topic, and I tried to be as thorough as I could with my guests who were also quite thorough. So the thing was, some of the reports could be shorter. Now, you know who passed away over the weekend besides Steve? Susan Wojcicki, who is the former CEO of YouTube.
Really?
And people are almost literally, celebrating this. And I'll be honest, I think because she had left, they said she had cancer. It's cancer everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere is cancer. It's just crazy. So
Well,
apparently she had cancer. That's what they're announcing. Whether she really did or not, I have no idea.
yeah,
But
what we're told may or may not be true.
right. But I'm speculating. Someone was speculating that all the accounts that had been deleted are going to be reinstated. Now that would be amazing for GoldFish Report, because I had 3 channels that were deleted. So every time I got back up and built it back up again, they deleted it. This is my 4th channel on YouTube.
Oh my gosh. Well, one thing I will tell you is that my cousin had her boss die like right next to her, her boss's husband. They were at the beach down South Jersey, and
She
they
was
were
swimming
talking,
next to him.
swimming next to him, and she was joking. Then so we ought to look out for the riptide. She looks over, and he's basically dead. She had to pull him out of the water. They tried to do CPR on him, but he was a man in maybe his 50s. I mean, not old, and just died suddenly. I mean, one minute he's laughing and having fun, next minute he's completely unresponsive and passes within moments. In the time it took his this guy's wife to go get an ice cream cone and come back, he had passed. So this is, I think that to your point, I really do feel like we're going to see more excess deaths. And that if you see someone trying to normalize the idea that people in their 50s, their 40s, or 30s, even in their 60s, die suddenly with that explanation, you're being gaslit.
Right.
You're being
Right.
gaslit.
Exactly.
Don't
Yeah.
allow them to make you think it's normal. It isn't.
They're trying to normalize everything, anything that has to do with Satan, right? Pedophilia,
Yeah.
the trafficking, but what's happening now is they're ratting each other out. We had Stephen Baldwin on Twitter actually ratting out some other actors. They're all ratting each other out now.
Really?
You do know things are going on in the background. What? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Stephen Baldwin. Wow.
Stephen Baldwin. Oh yeah, no, he's naming names, and that's that was predicted. I mean, I do think there is a big cleanup operation going on. At the same time, I think that I had reported a long time ago that the things were going to escalate and get worse and worse and worse until everybody woke up. I mean, I don't know if we have to wait for everybody. I don't know, and saw the corruption, saw that this is all our history's been
Mhm.
altered.
Right.
Our knowledge is contained.
Mhm.
And anybody who comes up with inventions or any ideas that go against the official narrative of the globalists, they, have to suffer the wrath of the globalists.
Mhm.
And they give us the illusion that we have freedom and a democracy when they're over there punching holes in our Constitution like it's Swiss cheese.
Right.
I mean, today was an interesting announcement from the Supreme Court. There was a ruling that men can no longer, we need to waste money and time. Our Supreme Court on stupid questions like whether men should go into a woman's bathroom. But this is where we are. So the Supreme Court said, no, men cannot go into women's bathrooms, changing rooms, locker rooms, nothing
Good.
like that.
Good. Well,
So the
this is
Supreme
part
Court
of,
said today.
well, it's part of the enemy trying to normalize. Oh, you should allow the enemy is Satan. The enemy is evil. And anyone who is in alignment with this, I mean, you have to look at who do you think is influencing these people? Yeah, I totally agree. It's like
It's Satan.
it's Satan. I do believe that and back since the idea behind this food for the soul, I want everyone, I'm going to ask everyone, it's not up to me, it's up to
Prayers.
you. Pray. Be conscious of where your thoughts go. Also, too, you're not at the disposal of your thoughts. You can control where they go. You can decide so much about choice. I have a friend who was telling me something about like, what does it mean to love? Is love just a feeling that comes over you, or is there a choice involved with this? Think about the idea that you choose to do loving things. All right. And it can form and change and improve the quality of your life. Don't wait.
And can I just say something about the power of prayer?
Yeah, please.
Because people, I don't think they quite understand how powerful the power of prayer is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you a very quick example with a friend of mine. She's a born again Christian. She was born Jewish and she converted to Christianity. And she had a predicament where she was had a hard time. She's out in California getting a renter out of her property for it. I think it took her almost a year. And she spent something like over 20,000 in lawyer fees and going back and forth to the courts to get this guy out. Of course, the California laws are in the side of the renter. So it was very hard. And she said, you know, I just was going to give up, and I just decided I'm going to pray for him. I'm going to pray that he decides that it's wrong to be here. I need to leave. And within, I'd say 2 weeks, she calls me and she goes, Barb, you're never going to believe it. He left. The guy
Wow.
left.
Wow.
And he took all his stuff and he just left. And she goes, I prayed for him. I wanted him to be happy. And so she took, after almost a year fighting him, and she finally I'm just going to pray for him. I'm just going to pray. And within 2 weeks, he was gone. So, to me, that's just a very clear example of the power of prayer. It works. And, just when you think you have no other avenues to take, just sit down and pray.
Well, this is something that Scott talked about all the time, the Ho'oponopono. And he was so good at reminding us and keeping us, just so you know, I put a little note in the chat there for you. There's on Zoom.
Yep.
Zoom chat. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so because when you think about it, right, we can't, nobody can take any of these physical things with us when we go. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing at all. The only thing we take with us is what our soul allows us to keep, which is our memories and experiences here. Those who we loved and how we treated them, and those who loved us and those who didn't, and how they treated us. So, but it's not, I think things are a little bit different over there, in terms of, judgment and things of that nature. I don't think it's quite the way like it is here. We judge ourselves far too harsh, far too difficult, and I don't think it's quite like that on the other side. Maybe
You know what I like
maybe you can validate.
Well, just in one funny thing for me is that people on the other side tell me, yeah, we don't wear watches over here. Nobody wears watches on the other side. And so to me, it says that time is not the same. So people often, we're linear beings. The sun comes up, goes down. We have to do things in a certain order. That's not the same case on the other side. Also, too, I feel like that people, even if someone has a very, if they have a challenging life or if they are not proud of things, I think we all get a chance to evaluate, what did I do? What could I have done better? And I feel like that God is not trying to hammer you. God is trying to teach. And then I think that also too, that once we escape the body, I think a lot of our ego and our worries and our problems, issues, a lot of it is connected to our physical body. So when we let go of it, we can say more objectively, oh yeah, I was selfish in this respect, or I could have been more generous, or I was too quick to judge, or I did really well under the circumstances. I didn't ask to have this and this happen, and yet I managed to do this. So I think that on the other side, we in a sense judge ourselves, and that we get a chance to
Right.
learn from this whole thing.
Oh, my microphone, I had turned that. So we're coming up, I don't know if we had another question or not, but it looked like she retracted her comment. I didn't get to see it completely, but we're coming up to the hour and I wanted to try to keep this within the hour. Let's just see if we have any other questions. I don't see, I guess it was removed, so maybe they changed their mind, but anyway, I want to thank you
For you, before we go real quick, did Stephen write up long lists of things to discuss? Do you have something of Steve's, looks like lists, schedules? It's like, it looks like a breakdown, almost like an order of these are the things that we need to discuss. These are the things that are important to me. He's showing me a piece of paper that has a list of these are the things that we need to do. It feels like if it's not like a shot list, it's a list for prioritization. If you have something like that of his, he invites you to relook at it. He also wants you to know that, again, he's very proud of you standing up, doing what you can. He says that your voice does do more than just inform, it inspires. So don't forget that.
So it's interesting because Steve and I use our voices in very different ways, but he certainly, had an amazing talent and ability for that. But and he's going to be missed greatly, tremendously. I mean, the opera community, and I will just show the obituary really quickly because before I show your website, um, there were just so many of them. Just trying to find one. There was one that unfortunately had apparently a virus in it. I don't know who would do such a thing. Who on
Oh,
earth would do such a thing? Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I don't know what's wrong
I'll
with
just say
people.
this too, is that Stephen mentioned that I don't know if he did Faust, if there was something that was part of his repertoire that he enjoyed, but he
Yeah.
talked to me, he said Faust. I don't know if he was planning to do Faust or if he had done it recently, but that came up as a reference for him. So
Okay.
anyone that knows his work, if it comes up, let us know.
This is the obituary that had one of them that were published. It's a little slow to move out and stuff right now, but this is one of the industry publications that Steve dies at 57. And so it says here, Steve born in Penang, Malaysia, and his father David Lim was of Chinese ancestry and his mother Joyce Davis was Irish. The father moved to Australia, firstly to Tasmania, then to Melbourne, and then he started, studying horn and brass and obtained his bachelor's of music degree at Victorian College. Now, he's got quite a long repertoire here. Let's see. La
Offenbach.
Callisto, Cavelli's, he's got, they don't really talk about all the performances, but
and Giovanni.
Rossino's Barber of Seville, La Bella Helena, Tamino in Mozart's. He was Achilles in Offenbach's La Bella Helena. Oh, I see. So he was Count. Yeah, so he was these were the different roles that he had
He was
played
all
when he
over.
was singing. He was Tamino in Mozart's Magic Flute, Ferrando in Cose fan tutti, and Don Ottavino in Don Giovanni, of course. So he appeared at many performance houses. This is his obituary, and this is a picture of Stephen. I think at a certain point, I mean, he was very well,
Wow.
he's gonna be much missed. I mean, very missed. That was Opera Wire, so obviously in the industry he was very well known. And I did write some music for Stevie, only got to sing a very small portion of it, and certainly breaks my heart that that's no longer a possibility, but that's how it goes, right? I mean, we will always remember our loved ones and keep them close in our hearts, however we do that. So let me just screen share your website so that let's see, I have to find, here you are. So if you're looking for you see this video either now or if it's uploaded later, you can take a look at this website here if you're interested perhaps in having a private reading with Mark. I'm not sure if Barbara's involved in that, but you
Just
can
me,
explain
but
it.
she
Okay.
helps with investigations. People
Yeah.
will ask us to step in to assist if they're
Right.
having a problem in their home. And
Just
my
fascinating stuff. Sorry.
marknelsonmedium.com.
Yeah.
marknelsonmedium.com. That's amazing.
MarkNelsonMedium.com. This is his website, and you can come here and book. You can book readings, and you can even gift. Isn't it true? You can gift. The
Yep.
people can get. I used to
Yep.
do that for Steve all the time. I always gifted him readings. It's funny. So that's the website for Mark and for everyone. Hope, God willing, we'll be here next week. There will be another report before next week. It's just going to take a little bit more time. And that one will be specifically dedicated to Steve, his legacy, his work, and especially his work with the GoldFish report. So that's what we have for tonight. Is there any final statements or comments you have?
God is always with you. If you feel alone, don't think that. Recognize that God is with us. It keeps me grounded. I hope it keeps you grounded and not in a place of fear, but in a place of appreciation.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Well, we're all gonna have our turn, folks. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So, that's how it's gonna be. And just remember, we don't get to take anything with us that we accumulate here. So time to clean out closets.
You never see U-Hauls behind hearses.
No U-Hauls behind hearses.
I love that.
It's a horrible visual, and you can
I
thank me for that.
know. It's true, though, true. Thank you so much for joining me, both of you. Thank you. It was wonderful bringing forth those messages from Steve and also from you. Let me just check one more time. I do have somebody. Well, would you like to take it?
Sure, I'll take it.
Okay. So we have Jane saying, "Hi, Mark. Do you see spirit around me?" Her name's Jane Hoffman. And do they have a message for me? Thank you. It's Louisa. Yeah, not Lisa, but that's okay, Jane. It's all right. So her name's Jane Hoffman, and she's wondering if she may have any spirits around her for the comments.
I get that. First thing I see is a woman that would be more of a female buffer, telling her to protect herself at a spiritual level. She says that they're not out to get you, but it's important that you pay attention to the fact that you are safe. Okay. Also, too, she's shown me like keep an eye on like some people still use checkbooks. Manage your checkbook. Make sure that you know where the money is, the money's going. I feel like that I'm just supposed to tell you, protect where you let your money go. Make sure that people are not taking something from you that is not theirs. So of a financial nature, protect your resources. Okay? That's what I get.
Sorry. Okay. The next one, Jane is just coming by to say hello. And then we have, Charlene. I know Charlene's been a longtime viewer. She's just commenting on Steve. Yep, this was just last week. It's very recent, Charlene, I'm sorry. And yeah, it's unfortunate. So, not sure what was going on with the other messages though, but this is lovely. And if you like what we're doing here on the Goldfish Report, please share this far and wide because I'm clearly that I'm quite censored. So it would be helpful to help build up this channel again if everybody shares this and comes back every Friday night. Now, there may be a Friday night here or there that we don't do a report just because, we're three people with different schedules, but we're hoping to keep it regular. And, I just have to make this comment that I will still do some political reporting and whatnot. It's just there's so many people doing that. There's so many messages of fear. I just don't want to be
Right.
I don't want that to be all that I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I needed to do what was most important to me at this point, because I've done everything I can with over 1,000 reports to try to wake people up. And I don't mind if people bootleg them, because it's about the message. It's not
Mhm.
about money.
Mhm.
So, you know, we're here doing spiritual work. This is what we do. It's work for the soul. So food for the soul, it's to help heal the soul, you know, and that's why we're offering this report. So that's why it's important to me that I get to, I've had readings from mediums for 20 years, maybe longer, 30 years. And not, you know, I mean, the ones that I see are usually very good. And I was open to it. And that's the point. The point is just to be open to that intuitive side of us, and accept that some people are much more sensitive and can really get more information, you know, from their intuition, psychic ability than other people can. And they come through and they make a difference in the world. So thank you for making a difference in the world, both of you.
Our
So
pleasure.
we'll see you all next week. Thank you for watching. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.